You are now about to witness the awesome, crushing height of the Eugene S. Robinson. Yeah. Show Wednesday. Oh, wait, there we go. Stomper! Welcome, my friends, to a show that seemingly never ends. This is version 409. You just want to show stop. Yes. We got a lot to talk about today. But first, Bob Riley is going to sing us in like he has every single week since 2007. The song is called Intro, All of Nothing. On a record by Stigmata called Calling of the Just. Still available from Revelation Records in Huntington Beach, California, where they shoot you to death at a nightclub, hit your car with a hammer, and run your mayor pro tem out of town on the rail, open up a substandard restaurant in Central Florida that will inevitably listen well. Listen. I'm on my way back nowhere. I took my time, but I could not see so clear. But I'm taking a real good look at you. I'm taking a real good look at your face. I'm on my way back there. So being payback is always not bad. Okay, all right, enough of that. Welcome, meine Freunde. Yes. To a show that seemingly never ends. Here we go, version 409 of the Eugene S. Robinson show Stomper. It's not for everybody. It's an acquired taste. You'll hate it at first. Give it some time. You'll like it. We just passed the first. No April Fools, no Diddy. Listen, let me tell you, some of you's paid, some of you didn't. But whether you pay or you didn't, I still got to pay June. So think about it right now. You could pay me. You could CashApp me. You could Venmo me. You could PayPal me. You could Zelle me. You could Bizoom me. You could Substack me. Many different ways. There's no amount of money that is too small that I will reject it. I'm kind of flying high on the hog this week because I got 2 freelance pieces, one in Cream Magazine and one in The Wire. So I got some money that I'm coming in. It's all right, but listen, stuff adds up. Bills don't stop. Money coming in sometimes does. So think of that. So anyway, spent the day on the beach. Just smashed my finger in one of these great doors, that I got here in the house. And so I know from experience that I spent the last 15 minutes massaging the finger to try to get the blood to go back under the nail so it doesn't congeal, die, and I lose a fingernail. So Zelle is a Wells Fargo. If you don't have it, you don't know it. It's another way to separate all these financial items to separate you from your money. I remember, my ex-wife talking to me years ago said, listen, you need to get a 401k. I go, I'm not doing it. She goes, why? And I go, Social Security is going to take care of me in my old age. She goes, it won't. That's why people do 401ks. Social Security will be insolvent when you're old. It's not worth shit. And I go, okay, so 401k. All right. So there's another way to separate me from my money. Explain 401k. She explains 401k to me. She was an attorney, came natural to her. I'm kind of forcing myself to listen, finally get it. So, you don't have to do anything, Eugene. You just start a new job. You just say you want 401k. You just say yes, and you just max it out. Put it. You don't have to think about it. Okay, great. Do it. Do it. Don't think about it. Have a moment of clarity where I'm complaining about. I make that young guy complaint about, oh, their taxes. Yeah, there's no such thing as taxes. It's not. They're not real. This is not Willie Nelson, Wesley Snipes. But what I'm saying is, it's theoretical money. So look, we would pay you $100,000 a year but for the government. So let me tell you what, we're going to pay you $100,000 a year. And out of that, we're going to take $25,000. It wasn't yours ever. Once you just embrace the fact that you make 75 grand a year, that's it. The other shit is magical. So anyway, I get the 401k. Then she starts saying a couple of years later, I think the email address for Zelle is my email address, OX underscore B as in Bruce OW at hotmail.com. I think that's what it is. So she says a few years later, she's 5 years later, she says, listen, you should get an IRA Roth. I go, what is this? She goes, well, it's like a 401k. I go, whoa, 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 whoa. You got me to do the 401. I got the Social Security. I got the 401k. Are you telling me that the 401k is no good? And all the time I'm reading these articles about companies where the boss has been collecting money for the 401k, but hasn't been investing it and then robbing the people. And then, when you do direct deposit, sometimes the money wasn't getting, a lot of things, a lot of chicanery. Just get an IRA Roth. I had to draw the line. I said, I'm not doing it. These financial instruments just are extra avenues to robbery. I refuse. She goes, I'm not taking care of you when you get older. Well, she actually ended up taking care of me when she was older. She did quite a nice job because when we got divorced, she could have easily demanded and received, half of the stocks that I amassed from all that 401k and employee stock purchase plan stuff. But she didn't. Decent woman. She let me be, kept it, and hence Spain. So anyway, this is a short way of saying pay up. So this week, outside of my muttering, stuttering demands for cash, this week was a strange week. I've been under the weather. Nobody wants to hear that you're under the weather, and I'm not complaining. I'm just noting. Not with a cold, not with anything like that. But the vicissitudes of age. You lose friends. Guys that bring me out. People are going to inevitably ask me if I know this guy from Harm's Way, the guitarist for Harm's Way, who just died. Bo, didn't know him. Didn't know. He's 38 years old, apparently a victim of suicide. And people who I know and like and respect seem to be torn up by the guy's passing. Didn't know him. If you paid attention to last week's show, my attitude on suicide is that none of us can tell any of the rest of us that they should draw another breath for another day if it's not in them to do so. So I don't know what to tell you. But I feel bad about it. But I've been similarly under, passing of friends. I'm in the old days. Most people deal with depression by fleeing from it. And I knew instinctively for me, this was never going to work. What it was going to work for me is not fleeing from it, running toward it, embracing it, wallowing it. This is how I ended up living in a trailer park with a shotgun in my mouth, sobbing as I fell to the floor, trying to reach the trigger. Was I deadly earnest, or was I just a drama queen? Who knows? But this is these days that you wake up and you're happy to be drawing a breath, and then you go, but what kind of breath am I drawing? These are morbid self-attentions that you might be especially prone to if you're, put your air quotes in the air, we're tired. So so I'm thinking this week, and at some point I break down. You kind of like mellow, relaxing, want to have a nice evening, not think about things, and finally decide to watch the Red Hot Chili Peppers documentary. I've been avoiding it for quiet, embrace yourself. That's exactly it. So I've been avoiding it. Yeah, okay. Okay, I finally said, I feel I'm starting to come out of this. I'm starting to come out of this dankness, this darkness. I'm starting to feel all right. Yeah, I'll watch it. This is like Monday or Tuesday, and I watch it, and I don't want to say my head is blown off because that seems to offer some sort of indication that I think it's something that you should watch. I'm not saying it's something that you should watch, but I have a long history with the band, which I spell out in the Substack. If you've read it already, if you're not, subscribe. It's free, or you could pay money via the Substack. You don't have to, but you can. Or it's free. That's how I got around dealing with the convicted felon Carlos Watson when he was trying to say you can't be moonlighting if you work here. I go, it's free. It's like posting to my Facebook. People don't have to pay. They don't want to. If they want to, it's like anything else. What? How I'm going to take it? I'm not working a job. It didn't work, and that's ultimately, of course, what they fired me for. The Substack, which of course, curiously enough, is still going, and that Ozzy is not. So, yeah. You see, I still got that gene, that bitter stomp on your grave, urinate in your gravestone dream. That's my deal. That's always going to be my deal. But in regards to Chili Peppers, I'm watching this thing, and I started to think. Look, I started to think about, if you remember, Fussell, and I forget who. There's one, Paul Fussell, who did the Confessions of Unlikely Bodybuilder, which is a great book. And then I think there's his uncle or his father, Sam Fussell, who did this book on class in America. And he goes, America is a tries to be a classless society, completely unlike England. But one thing, it masks America masks this working class thing versus middle class versus upper class. It masks its class concerns, but the reality of it is, he said there are two classifications of people who avoid class distinctions in America, and I don't remember what the second one was, of course, because I patted myself on the back for the first one, and that's fundamentally artists. You can be a blue card artist like Ed Roche, and next thing you know, you're serving fucking canapes. I'm joking. Hors d'oeuvres, horse divers at an art gallery in LA to the likes of Will Ferrell and Eugene Robinson. What the fuck was Ed Roche, a former lithographer, now famous artist, hanging out, serving drinks at some art gallery I was at? There you go. We, in regards to artists, we're class. So I'm watching this Chili Peppers thing, and I'm like, these guys were dealing with shit, and you got to learn how to read between the lines. It may have been boring to you, but it wasn't boring to me because I'd been hating on them for so long, and it took me. I was seeing people I knew in the crowds. Right? I mean, they were hardcore deviation 2.0, right? I mean, they formed 88, right? With the cusp of, I remember Sam Smoot playing them for me. True Men Don't Kill Coyotes around the same time, 82, 83. I mean, I was already touring with Minor Threat and such then. So it was like maybe the first legitimate stab beyond hardcore was, and so, I'm watching this documentary, and I'm seeing people I recognize in the crowd. I'm seeing venues I've been to. I'm seeing, and I'm like, and then there are a couple of things that caught me, you know. And he said, "Yeah, man, we were living in Hollywood and we were hustling." Read that as you like. The story, if you read the memoir about Christopher Highland, the Andy Warhol adjacent pedophile who was trying to get in my ass. Uh, um, you know, he when he was asking me about if I hustled, I thought he meant dancing or worked hard. When he said it, suddenly I got this. I was like, "No, man. First of all, they're very little guys in real life, very small men." And in the case of Keita's very pretty guy. So when he talks about he was in the late 70s, early 80s in Hollywood hustling, yeah, it's like the first 5 minutes of that Welcome to the Jungle thing. This is what the dude is doing, getting sucked off or sucking people off for money. And I was like, I'm hate on this guy. And it didn't dawn on me until somebody about 3 weeks ago sent me, and like I say in the Substack, sent me some video of him just kind of jumping around on stage. And then all of a sudden, the affection I have for Team Old Guy, I was like, we were doing making fun of this guy. Dude was 63 years old, like somebody else I know. And he's out there busting his, still fucking touring. Now, okay, yeah, he's still touring and he's making, I don't know, $200,000 a night to do so, playing in front of crowds of 20,000 people. Whatever, bro. You know, he doesn't have to carry his gear up the stairs. Okay, yeah, whatever. I'm doing the same deal in front of crowds of 200, 300, for much less recompense, but it's still the same thing. And people out there making fun of dude. Nah. Yeah, man. And yeah, yeah, being run down with a vehicle. Hey, yeah, yeah. So I start to have feelings, and it's not the move to Spain, or is it a move to level my karma? Now, over time, I found this to be emotionally necessary. I have sought out people who I perceive, and this is not any AA thing or NA thing, or in my case, SA thing. It's a, it's just good hygiene, mental hygiene. And I've tracked down almost everybody that I've healthily wronged, with the exception of one person who I write about in the memoir. And I'm hoping that she finds the memoir, right? So or somehow finds a memoir, or remembers. And if you read the memoir, you know what I'm talking about. So um but I'm thinking like, and he's sitting during the interview, and he doesn't goofball it at all during the interview. Plays it straight down the line during the interview. It's fucking sobering, and he is, sober in any facet of the word that you want to use. And I start to think about the a conversation I had with Scott Kelly from formerly from Neurosis, who destroyed himself for the public marketplace, and now is a private citizen and doesn't desire to have any connection to Neurosis or his life as a performer entertainer. But we were on tour together, and I said, hey, tell me about. He was talking about Buzz. And I have got kind of a weird relationship with Buzz from the Melvins. I love them. I love the band. And even when I was at the Hustler 20th anniversary party, I loved that he was like trying to take the piss out of me so steadfastly and so dedicatedly, face to face. Now, most of these people who talk shit about me, like if you read the Substack, Michael Gira from Swans, when I met him face to face, the guy was a perfect gentleman, which makes sense. All right. Last time I saw Jack Black, when I didn't know it was Jack Black, he kept quiet and kept out of my fucking way. That's how I managed to not have to slap him to the floor, because I didn't realize it was him. Okay. So, so Scott Kelly was telling me, I've done stuff for Dale Crover when he was in his side project with Scott Kelly. I've written some stuff for them. And I like these guys. I like them. But I said, hey man, you know them. What's the goofball thing? I just the clown thing, man. Like the clown thing, every photo, this thing and the cocks and the socks and the cocks and the oh, I'm funny. Oh, and I've always hated that idea, because like, what if you don't feel that way that day? Then you have to do something grossly inauthentic, like clown it up for the audience, or you don't have to not play that night, right? I thought it must be a terrible jail to be in, to have to goof it up. And not only that, as a result of them doing it and being successful doing it, I spent the 80s shifting uncomfortably in my seat as Fungo Mungo, Fungus Among Us, all these Primus, all of these, every band and the creation of bands for the 80s who thought the quick way to getting some kind of cash was to make a goofy face. I couldn't stand it. And I said, hey, what's the deal with Buzz and this the goof thing? And he's like, hey man, that's the way he is. Well, what do you mean? He goes, there's not a authentic bone in dude's body. He really thinks it's funny. That's funny to him. That's his. And I go, oh. And then I remember the instance in which Steve Shelley, not Steve Shelley from Sonic Youth, but just another guy named Steve Shelley, walked into my office when I was when I when I was working at Apple, and he said, "I think Journey is about the best band ever." And I couldn't keep my mouth shut. I go, you're out of your fucking mind. What are you talking about? Those guys are phony pieces of shit. And we were clearly not going to have an agreement there. And then what changed? I read an interview with Steve Perry. And in the interview with Steve Perry says some shit that indicates to me that he really believes that stuff. That he really believes it. Don't stop thinking about, you got to, all that cornball, schmaltzy, self-help tripe. He believes. It completely blew my mind. I started listening to The Journey with different ears and realized they're a great band. If he really believes it, it's not my cup of tea, but if he really believes it, who am I? Who am I? So Scott Kelly tells me about Buzz. No, that's them. That's him. He also dropped some other bombs. He told me that Godspeed You Black Emperor were big Weird Al Yankovic fans. That didn't make any sense to me. I hate Weird Al Yankovic too. I hate the clowning, the compulsive clowning. If John Wayne Gacy wasn't any proof that you should hate fucking clowns, because it's a mask and you don't know what's going on under that mask. Something I've said about Fugazi versus Motley Crue. Who's the more honest band? Who's the more honest band? If John Jones cut me off in traffic, and I'm digressing. Cut me off in traffic, and I was unarmed, I would jump out of the car, fall down the ground, and feign blindness in order to get some of that Johnny Boney Joni money. You can't let an opportunity walk by you. That's what I'm saying. So, back to the. I mean, if this is really, who are we? Who? And the guy sits there for a whole interview. He's been clowning it up. It doesn't mean it's inauthentic. It could mean that there's no there. But nothing that he's done is inconsistent with being born and raised in Los Angeles. You live in New York for a while, then try flying to LA and go to a bar. The plane lands at LAX or Burbank, and go to a bar and someone says, "Hey, how's it going?" And you answer them like you would answer a New Yorker and see how far that gets you. Fugazi versus Fugazi versus Motley Crue, which is a more honest band. Clearly, Motley Crue. Their writing is a one-to-one connection. They're writing what they're doing. They're doing what they're writing. There's no mystery with them. Fugazi, I don't know anything about the guys in Fugazi from Fugazi. I only have a vague sense of even what they're thinking about when I listen to the Fugazi. Do I like the music? Yeah. I like Fugazi better than I like Motley Crue, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about authentic and honest. Anyway, that is the show. I finished, we took, If the Shoes Fit, we took it off yesterday because of it being Alexi's birthday. So if you happen to email somehow with Alexi, tell him happy birthday. Glad to see him having a birthday. This week jammed, pedal metal style and got my piece done for the Wire magazine on Iggy Pop and got my piece done for Cream. Bands are guys in bands whose asses need to be kicked. That's a great piece. Those are done this week. So now it's back to jiu-jitsu, lifting weights, and Ask Euge. The deadline is, I do Wednesday. I usually like to record it right after jiu-jitsu. So Wednesday, you got to do the figuring out for Spanish time. I get out of jiu-jitsu at noon on a Wednesday. I typically go to the car, sit in the car, and do that. If you've been liking Ask Euge, send your questions. There are millions of ways to DM me your questions. So deadline for questions is anytime up until Wednesday noon Spain time. I don't know where you are in the world, but if it's 6 hours to New York, that means it's 6. That would be 6 a.m. New York time, 3 a.m. California. You figure it out based on where you are, and you could just send them to me on Tuesday so that I have them. And I answer those. Let me know if that's been working for you. If you're enjoying it, if you're not enjoying it, we need to know. And that's all we got on the table this week. I'm sure there'll be rewrites I have for Bad Boss Brief. We recorded that on Friday, and so the new one should be out this Wednesday. We're back Saturday if the shoes fit, and next Sunday, who knows what I'll be obsessed with next Sunday, but we can only hope. So Kid is dead. Knock on wood. Kid is dead tired. She's asleep, so I'm not going to scream to end the show. Or just say this: look what you made me do. Don't die, Blinded. Don't die. Next week. See ya. Bye.
Thanks for joining us this week for yet another episode of the Show Stomper podcast, featuring your host, Eugene S. Robinson. Be sure to follow Eugene's weekly newsletter, which is a soaring hit at eugenestrobinson.substack.com. If you're still on Twitter, he's at Eugene S. Robinson. While you're at it, follow him on Insta at Mr. Sleep 3, that's the number 3. For more episodes of the show that seemingly never ends, go to showstomper.substack.com and become a subscriber today. Eventually, it will house all the Knuckle Up archives we can locate. We already have all the jiu-jitsu breakdowns for free. Check out Eugene on the Bad Boss Brief podcast every other Wednesday morning, as well as the If the Shoes Fit podcast. Pick up his memoir, A Walk Across Dirty Water and Straight into Murderer's Row today, and be sure to leave him a much appreciated honest Amazon review.
Hey, are you still there? I'm here too. This is me, June M. Williams, Eugene's producer.
The Show Stomper has been produced by Original Designs, owned and operated by me, June M. Williams. I provide Eugene with videography, original show graphics, motion graphics, show logos, podcast syndication, social media, and more. I can be reached at originals@gmail.com, spelled ORIJUNELS @gmail.com.